I just love upgrading heroes, said no one ever. What's going on, guys? My name is Naki101.
Do you feel the pulse?
Welcome back. This video of the Rush That Base series. Today we're going to be talking about the secret
Today
to
we're going to be
fast hero
talking about
upgrades. What is the fastest way to upgrade heroes? Let us know down in the comments below what you think is the fastest way to upgrade heroes, and I am not referring to books of heroes or hammers of heroes. Those are the obvious answers here, right? So for those of you out there that do not watch my channel regularly, you probably see this base and you're like, nah man, this dude has no idea what he's talking about. But let me show you this clip from about 30 days ago. 30 days ago we had a barbarian king at level 28, an archer queen at level 45, a grand warden that was level 17, and a royal champion that was at level 2. Today we have a barbarian king that's going to level 35. We have an archer queen that's going to level 49, and we just put our royal champion down to level 12 with the resources to put the grand warden back down to level 24 right this moment. So the real secret behind hero upgrades, without all the fluff and all the gems and the armies and the proper leagues to be raiding in, the real secret here is prioritizing your builders towards these upgrades. Whether you are a Town Hall 7 with a barbarian king for the first time, or you're a Town Hall 9 that's trying to upgrade that archer queen, or a Town Hall 11 that's trying to be focused in on the grand warden for the first time, the main thing that you need to do is prioritize your builders towards these upgrades. The fastest method might not always be the easiest, because this is not an easy method, but we're going to talk about some of the things that I do in order to keep these things down. So it's pretty easy to sit here and say put down 4 builders on 4 different heroes, but you also got to think about the amount of resources that you're going to need to be able to do this, and the type of armies that you're going to be using to do it as well. And so I'm going to put it like this from the very beginning: it is not easy stealing resources non-stop to keep 4 different heroes down all the time. I mean, I've had to place a lot of emphasis on this account to make sure that we could maintain this rate of hero upgrades. And as you progress deeper into your Town Hall levels, regardless of what Town Hall levels you are, you're gonna have to put a little bit more work in to achieve the maximum level for those heroes. So a lot of those heroes that I showed you a moment ago, they were already low level because this was a rushed account, so it looked like we had a very large influx of levels, like the barbarian king jumping up 6 levels, or the royal champion jumping up to level 12, which was like what, 9 levels ago or whatever. So you got to think about how much resources you bring in each time you raid, and also with that how often you raid as well, because you can't just raid like once or twice a day and think that you're gonna have the resources to keep up this pace of fast hero upgrades. It looks like we got a little bit more gold right here. We might have missed out on a little bit right there. The royal champion, man, the thing is an absolute monster when it comes to shutting down your attack, but I like to find dead bases like this and just kind of steal the easy resources if that royal champion will allow it to happen. Come on, royal champion, some of them resources, what are you doing? And we got a little bit of dark elixir right here in the center of the base, but we're gonna have to pass up on that way we don't waste resources. So also with this, even though we walked away with a large chunk of resources and we missed out on a little bit, we also have to think about how many resources we're spending every single time we raid. And so a lot of times some of you out there might believe that jumping up into Champions League and using those really expensive armies might get the job done, but if you don't raid a lot, then you're not going to be able to make up for the losses on those armies. And that's where these cheap armies like the baby dragons, or the miners for Town Hall 10, or let's say the sneaky goblins for Town Hall 11 and above, these are where these types of armies reign supreme. The other thing that you have to think about is the trophy range that you are doing most of your raiding in, and this is really based on your play style and how often you play the game. Now as a Town Hall 8, we realized that a lot of the resources that we were stealing, it was coming from Gold League and Crystal League, and you could try to get your way up in the Masters League, but it's very difficult for a Town Hall 8 to do it unless you're using like mass dragons. Now as a Town Hall 9, a lot of your best gold and elixir can be found in Gold League, but when you really need that dark elixir for those hero upgrades, you need to go up to Masters League, and that also really kind of applies to Town Hall 10s as well. Now we've picked up on a lot of this because we've been playing the game non-stop. We don't just talk about it and come up with these theories on our own, we all speak on these things from experience, and for the last couple of weeks we've spent a lot of our time in Masters League. Masters 3 by far has some of the best dead loot, and I'm not talking about like 300,000, we're talking like over 1 million. We see it so much in Masters League, it's not even funny. We get posts all the time from players over there on Twitter saying that they found another massive base with a massive loot in Masters League. And so as you can see here on the screen, we're trying to do a little bit of raiding ourselves because I have got to Keep the resources coming in. Every single time I'm on this account I try to do a little bit of raiding, and I do my best to try to keep the resources coming in. That way I can keep the builders upgrading. Now with this I also want to try to include Champions League, and Champions League is very interesting because you have to actually raid up in Champions League. You can't just go up to Champions League and find a ton of dead bases. You might find the occasional dead base, but it won't be a lot as often as you find here in Masters League. But up in Champions League you will find something along the lines of an amazing win bonus, and whenever you hit a base in Champions League you get 1*70 on the base. You will walk away with a pretty sizable win bonus which will help you out dramatically in the collection of resources based on how often you raid. So realistically, when we look at the entire scheme of trophy ranges Champions League, you have to do your actual raiding. You can't really use a lot of cheap armies. You might be able to use sneaky goblins, but that's about pretty much it. Masters League and down to about Silver League is where you can find some of the best resources, whether you're after the gold, the elixir, and the dark elixir is mostly in your crystal and Masters League. Alright, so since we dabbled with the cheap armies, we talked about the leagues where all the loot is hiding out. Let's talk about where I spend my gems. So I tend to spend my gems on the training potions, and this gives me the opportunity to boost my army for every time. That way I can go into those really good leagues like Masters 3 and steal massive amounts of loot for about an hour straight. This means that you don't have to play the game for hours at a time, just invest 1 hour a day to the game and you should be able to keep your heroes down. Not all of them. It really depends on how often you play. It's really a combination of a couple of things. It's the cheap armies, the best league to hang out in, boosted armies, investment of time in the game, and designating your builders to those heroes. Now when we get into the magic items, the training potions by far one of my favorite magic items to keep my armies boosted. That way I can go out and keep raiding when I'm playing the game. But what about those hero books? What about those hammers of heroes? Right, because those are also options for upgrading your heroes. So let's go ahead and keep this very simple when it comes to the hammer of heroes and the book of heroes. The hammer of heroes requires you to be in the clan war leagues. You got to participate, you got to get those medals, and it might be a little bit more difficult for some players out there to obtain them because they do cost 165 medals every single time you buy one, and then there's also the 7-day cooldown, so you can't really buy a bunch of them at one time. They are amazing because they do not require resources in order to upgrade the hero, so naturally this would be the fastest method, but again you got to do a lot of work in order to get these bad boys. Now when it comes to the Book of Heroes, there's 4 different locations where you can get them. Clan games, if they are in the rewards, you can get one from the trader for 500 gems. I don't normally talk about that one a lot because that's 500 gems. A lot of players out there don't want to spend 500 gems. It's not a bad offer, but again that's 500 gems invested on one book. Now you do need to pay attention to your season challenges and try to participate in these because you will always or almost always have never seen a difference here, or I've never seen any changes here. There will always be a Book of Heroes here at the end of the silver tier, so you basically get one free Book of Heroes every single season every time it resets. But again, you got to fill this green bar up to get it. Now you really got to pay attention to your events tab. That's the 4th location, and so it really depends on what's going on in the game. If there's a game update and there's the possibility of new levels on the heroes, you tend to see a lot of Books of Heroes populated here in special events, so you really got to pay attention to what's going on in the game, and you will see the rewards there if you do participate in the events tab. Now you might have noticed me clicking through the heroes earlier and you did see a Book of Heroes down here and you're like, why haven't you used it yet? I'm probably gonna hold that off until I take this queen to level 50, because one of the downsides about doing all 4 of your heroes at one time and trying to upgrade them non-stop is that once you use one Book of Heroes and you do not have a rune of dark elixir or a rune of elixir to compensate that, you got to basically go back out immediately and start grinding again. So it's basically a ton of work, but it really depends on how often you play and whether you're trying to follow this guideline of all 4 builders on 4 different heroes. So we're going to go ahead and finish up this video with a question of the day. So we got a video comment here from Naki I have referenced in a few of my previous farming videos, and this is the website right here, guys. A lot of times I tend to just reference this if I'm about to using trading potion, because remember 25 gems, I don't want to necessarily waste one of my magic items before going out and farming, you know what I mean, and so I tend to just look at the loot index right here. So we got the loot index that says a 1.9 on a scale from 1 to 10, so basically what it's saying is that the loot is terrible right now in my region. Now when you scroll down We got all these different regions around the world showing how many players are online, how many players are offline, how many players are shielded, how many attackable players, and this is all based on the Clash of Clans AP. Guys, I don't know the full details of all this information because I did not build this website, but I will say that sometimes you will still find a dead base even though it does say it's terrible right now, so I wouldn't necessarily base all of my farming off of this website. It's just a really good guide to check to see what the loot looks like, but it can be a little inaccurate from time to time, but again it's really just based on how much you actually play the game. If you want to sit down and put on a training potion for 1 hour, check this out and make sure that it is kind of green or in the yellow, because you could be wasting a training potion based on the type of loot that's available. And I'll say that right now it is kind of accurate because it's saying 1.9, and I went through scrolling through trying to find a few bases and there's not a ton of dead loot right this moment. So in conclusion, when it comes to the upgrading heroes, guys, it's a combination of a few things. It's really based on how often you play the game. You're going to hear me say that a lot if you watch my channel, how often you play the game, what types of armies you're using. If you're using cheap armies, you will be able to steal the resources really fast, and then also it's just a matter of discipline and making sure that you focus your efforts towards those heroes. Don't get distracted on other things. As long as you want to get those heroes done, it will get done over a period of time based on how many hero books you can get your hands on and how many heroes you designate towards this cause. I'm telling you right now, it is not an easy task, but it can go fast if you focus your efforts towards the heroes only and not all these other items. And on that note, we're gonna go ahead and burn off some of our gold right here. So let's go ahead and burn off our gold on some walls, that way I can have my builder to put down on that Grand Warden. So it looks like we got a little bit more gold. We are using a gold pass, so the gold is down to 4 million, and that will bring us up a little bit more on our level 13 walls, and we could spend off our elixir just like this, and then it's basically going back out and farming up the resources all over again. It's an endless cycle, guys, but again it's really based on how bad you want those high level heroes. Hopefully you're able to get something out of today's video, and if you enjoyed the content, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe if you have not done so already, and if you like watching us every single day, turn on those notifications. If you need any additional video support or you want to see this base from a brand new Town Hall 8 Rushed account, click one of those links over there, and we will see in the next one, guys. Take care.